Are we actually in the end of times right now? Yes. Is this the first time that we've been in the end of times apocalyptic era in the history of humanity? No, we have been through many cycles of going through this sort of death and rebirth process. So no, this is not the first time, but we are in a really pivotal moment right now where there is a sort of climax period where humanity is going to start to be feeling the ground shaking beneath it, where these systems and structures that have been in control of humanity for so many centuries are going to start to rise up and start to really seek to take as much control of our human lives as possible. And this is a time where a lot of people are going to be losing a lot of hope. They're going to feel extremely powerless over their situation. But the purpose of this video today is to really share with you the solution to this problem as the climax is starting to get louder and louder as the systems are starting to really tighten their grip. I know there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the news right now within our government, around the world, wars and destruction, and this sort of tightening up of control systems is really happening right now, and people are really feeling the gravity of what's going on, especially as AI is starting to expand. Certain policies are going to be set in place in the upcoming years, especially 2027, 2030. These upcoming 5 years are going to be really difficult and hellish times for many people. Now, I don't say this to scare anybody. I say this to bring awareness to the fact that it is possible for us to overcome this era that we are in. If you are here right now, if you're watching this video, if you are following me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, if you know me personally, you are most likely one of the people that is here to help lead a movement, that's here to help lead humanity out of this crisis so that we can come out the other side experiencing the life that we all deeply desire and dream for ourselves: the peace, the abundance, the joy, the fulfillment, the unification. No more scarcity, no more poverty. There's so much division in our world today, and I know so many of us deeply desire, not only in our personal lives, but for the world as a whole, for us to just be able to come together and to exist as one. And this sounds really cheesy, and it's a concept that's been talked about a lot of times. I know a lot of people think about like the 1970s, love is the only way, like peace era, like that was like the first wave of people in our modern era who were starting to bring this truth to people's awareness. I know that there were certain medications and plants and drugs involved, but regardless, humanity is starting to wake up to the fact that love really is the answer to everything. Again, that sounds really cheesy. Sarah, like, what are you talking about right now? In this video today, I'm going to get into the truth behind that statement. Love is going to be the solution. If you are looking around right now at our world today, in your life and in the lives of countries and nations and people all around the world, there is mass destruction and terror. This is a real thing that's happening, right? So the gravity of it cannot be understated. And similarly, I'm here to tell you that the gravity of the fact that we need to understand that love is the solution. Love is the solution. Coming into our purpose is the solution. Coming together, believing in ourselves, bringing more power back to the people, realizing that nothing can have control over us unless we have consent towards it. These sorts of concepts are going to be the thing that is going to help get us through this. So that was a little bit of a long intro, but welcome to my channel. This is the first video on this channel. I've been posting a lot on Instagram. You can also check out my Substack, and I also have an upcoming podcast and an ebook as well. So I have some things that are out into the public, but this is the first YouTube video that I'm having, so thank you for being here. It is such an honor to connect with you. You don't even understand how important you are on this planet. And my name is Sarah. Welcome to my brand, my business, Dancing with Divinity. This is a movement that is so much bigger than my personal life. And I recently came to this realization as I've been really creating things for my audience and bringing my message out there, that this is so much more than me just being in front of a camera and creating a new life for myself as someone who transitioned out of being a nurse for 5 years and stepping full-time onto their soul path. This is a very small part of a much bigger mission that is happening through me. So I am a soul purpose guide, I'm a spiritual life coach, I'm an alchemist, I'm a priestess, I am an activator of the heart. I awaken the hearts of humanity, and I help to break people out of the chains of our modern day slavery and step into their soul purpose full time so that we can create our version of heaven on earth for ourselves, but also for the world at large. Each one of us has a really important part to play in the awakening process of coming back into this state of balance in our world, where we do experience more of that peace and harmony that I mentioned previously. And so I'm here to help remind you that your purpose is extremely important, and I'm also here to help awaken you to what that even is for yourself. I have an ebook that is about 70 pages long. It's really good, talks about my life story, and it has 50 journaling prompts that can help you to get super clear on what your soul's purpose is. But to be honest, a lot of you already probably know what some of your soul purpose is. You're probably already living it in some way, and it's just about you bringing it into your everyday life in a more concrete way. And a lot of our job as human beings, spiritual beings, playing as humans, is to bring our divinity and our soul work and our spiritual essence into our human physical life. That is the formula to help to bring heaven on earth, is to bring that divine aspect, the part of us that loves to dream, the part of us that feels deeply and has visions, and the part of us that desires change and transformation. The more we learn to embody that part of ourselves and to connect with our intuition, the part of us that is guiding us to bring that onto this planet in a physical way and take actions towards it, the more we start to see actual physical changes in our own life as well as the world at large. So that's a brief overview of my mission. It is extremely powerful and needed in this era, as I'm going to get into a little bit today in this video. Why is all this important, right? Like, why is heaven on earth important? Why is it important for us to be aware of what we're here to do? Because, as I mentioned previously, the world is going through a big contraction right now. And why do I have a certain level of understanding of this on a personal level? Well, I recently had an interaction and experience with someone who is a part of a very prominent secret society that has been in play for who knows how long, right? A lot of people don't realize this. I am just now coming upon this knowledge that our entire culture as a society globally is ran by oligarchs and by organizations that have all of the money, they have all of the resources, and they have all of the power. And they are basically in charge of everything, and all the corporations and the companies that we see, the politics, the people who are in positions of big influence and power in our world today on the media and on the big screen, they're actually playing a role for someone else. So there are families of people that are ruling our systems, and they have control over both the light and the dark. So if you look in politics and you see that there's, like, for example, in the American government system, we have the Republicans and the Democrats, and a lot of people will, vie for one or the other. What they don't understand is that it's all a big distraction to keep you from realizing who's actually in charge, and to keep you from understanding your own personal power, because you are giving away your attention and your focus to something outside of you that you feel like you have some sort of say over. You know, we have this voting system, and it keeps people feeling like they're a part of making a difference in the country, and in reality, the people who win these elections and stuff have already been chosen. And it's a facade to keep the general population from being able to kind of like smell what's actually going on behind the surface, because there are big schemes and big plans that are happening behind the scenes that are actually affecting our entire lives. So these people are serving a demonic spirit. And this sounds crazy and this sounds unrealistic to many people, but let me tell you why this is factual. First of all, these people are doing rituals and making big changes in our society and in our world right in front of our faces. There's something called karmic retribution, where these people are allowed to do whatever they want. We have complete free will on this planet as human beings to do whatever we would like to do. But there is a concept of karma that is very real, where anything that you put out into the world, you're going to receive back. And so what these people do is they actually talk openly about the things that they're doing. They don't share the secrets of why. They don't share the secrets of how they're able to hold this much power, but it's very energetic and occult. And it is a usage of supernatural forces. So yes, of course, they do not want people to know that they work with the supernatural, because if you knew that they were working with the supernatural, you would start to question, where's your part in that? The more people that do not believe in God or do not believe in the unseen or the supernatural, the more people that are disempowered, because they have to put up with what's already here. You know, like, all you see is all you get. The only thing that exists is logic. That is a setup that has been intentionally put into play, especially in the past however many 200, 100 years, with the rise of science and Darwinism, and all of these things were very intentional concepts that were placed into education systems in order to separate us from the truth that we are divinely connected to God and to an infinite source, and that we are infinite beings, and that we are extremely powerful beings that are directly connected to God, and that we can create anything that we desire. It's a concept that's kept us from understanding our power. Going back to what I was saying about karmic retribution. So these people are allowed to do anything that they desire as long as they speak about it openly, because if they speak about it openly, it gives you your power. It gives you free will to choose what are you going to do about it. Now, most people are not going to believe that these organizations are real. They're not going to read and listen and see literally what's right in front of our faces, because they have been so conditioned to comfort and to small world living that they will believe that it's too fantastical to be true. And so this is how these people actually get away with what they're doing, is they actually speak about it online a lot. You can look up a lot of information about Freemasons. You can look up information about the Rothschild family. I may not be pronouncing that correctly. I hesitate to say some of these names because it will automatically track my content. It's going to attract a lot of visibility. But I'm a small fish, so I don't think they're going to really see me as being a very impactful part of their whole scheme. And I have freedom of speech, but you can look up stuff about these organizations and watch interviews, especially about people who have become celebrities, like industry plants and stuff like that, the P. Diddy trials. You can look up stuff that Jim Carrey says about Hollywood and the Illuminati, and you can also look at the evidence. I know a lot of people are like, conspiracy theories are just bullshit, like they're just fear-mongering, like they're trying to just distract people, and to a certain extent that is actually true. Like if you go too far into the hole, some of it is true, but a lot of it is not true, so that is actually a fact. But there's a certain level of awareness and knowledge that comes with looking into these conspiracy theories, into the secrets of what's actually going on, because the more we actually know what's going on, the more we're able to start to see the importance of our role in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, each one of us is, I can't even state how important it is that all of us come to this level of awareness of our role in the bigger picture of things. So anyway, if you look up different conspiracy theories about celebrities, you will start to see that they actually do speak openly about a lot of things that have happened to them. And because of my personal encounter with this particular person, as a spiritual intuitive, as someone who's energetic, this person was not able to disclose their identity, but I felt the energy. And I have been in a lot of dark places. I have awareness. I have experienced a lot of dark energies as someone who worked in the medical field. I worked with a lot of people who were extremely influenced by drugs and alcohol and trauma and poverty and homelessness. I won't go into the details about other things, bribery that I've seen in different corporations, the corruption that happens within organizations. But I have never felt this level of darkness in my entire life that was associated with such a level of power. I've never been connected closely to someone who had a high position of authority in this level of power, because it hasn't been in my awareness. I'm typically someone who's very mindful of my environment. I absorb things pretty easily, and I prioritize keeping myself in a very clean and pure environment so that I can channel and really connect to my mission and connect to my source and not feel so influenced by these outside forces. So this encounter was extremely eye-opening and life-changing for me, because I had a direct line of sight over the extent of the greed and damage that is being done in our culture and society. What happened over the years is that these people acquired so much wealth that they became unstoppable, and they feed off of people's fear. So the source of their power is actually not money, by the way. I know I just kind of made a statement about that, but to get even deeper into that, the source of their power is people. So they need people to engage with them and to work with them and work under these paradigms and regimes that are actually psychological and energetic constructs of manipulation and fear and disempowerment in order to survive. So these people are actually not all powerful, but they have learned how to derive their source from a demonic energy, from Satan itself. So we are actually able to confront and to go against these supernatural forces. The people that are in these societies are being possessed. So they're being used by this larger entity, which is Satan, which is the king of the world, the prince of the world, whatever you want to say. And their job is to go out and acquire more people and acquire more power and more control. And the more that you say no to these entities and you start to claim your sovereignty, the less power they have. So this is going to be something that's really key as we get into these end of times, as things start to become bigger and grander and more disturbing. It's going to be our power of choice. So interestingly, the power that these people have is actually a facade. I kind of went into that already as to why that is, because power that is sourced from other people is not true power. If you have to actually manipulate people, if you have to coerce people to work with you, the power that you are holding comes from fear itself and insecurity. And fear is an illusion. Fear is something that needs to constantly be fed in order to exist. and it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable construct. The way to overcome this energy source is to take back our power and not to consent to fear itself. And true power actually comes from connection to God. So this is something that I really want to talk a little bit about in this video as I get into these organizations and the supernatural and all of this. I know I was kind of talking a little bit about the global scale and the life events that are happening, but really from an energetic standpoint, that is primarily my focus of this video, because when we do not understand our connection to the divine, and we do not understand the power of God as the creator, the God that is above, right? If you look in Kabbalah, I don't know if how many of you have actually seen Kabbalah, but there's something called the tree of life. And this tree of life is basically like the ascension of man into becoming God. And there's actually an opposite path that goes underneath. This was the fall of man. So you actually can descend and become God the other way as well. And this is what has happened in our world today, is the primary energy that has overtaken our planet right now is Satan, is the bottom of this tree. It's not our original design, guys. It's not where we're supposed to be. We can feel this, okay? And I'm gonna get a little bit emotional talking about this, because we need to reconnect with our innocence. We need to reconnect with children and animals and nature and remember this original design. I know what's happened over the years is that people have been taken advantage of, people have been molested as kids, their free will has been taken from them when they were a young age. People go through traumatic events that take them away from their innocence, and I totally understand why it's so hard for people to be able to even conceptualize any sort of heaven on earth or a better world because of what we've experienced. But that was also intentional, because for those of us like me who have protected our innocence over the years, for those of us who remain pure, we remember what this original design looks like, and it is our destiny as a collective to return to this innocence. It's funny as I'm saying that, it's definitely a collective arc, but it's also something that we personally go through in our individual lives. Everything is a reflection, everything is just a mirror of itself, which is so funny to me to talk about. But we need to come back to that innocent part of ourselves that remembers, in order for us to really see that this could even be possible and to connect with the dreams that each of us has within ourselves. So it's actually this connection to the divine and to our essence, and to remembering the existence of a God, to remembering supernatural forces exist on this planet. Spirit comes before matter. Spirit is what has always existed and always will exist. It is what we will return to. And it's the first thing that comes into our being when we are conceived. It's not the physical, it's the energy. And the more that we start to embody this and believe this, the more free we will be. So I actually realized through this encounter, I was going through a bit of a decline in faith, as you could say, in my personal journey. I don't need to go into the details of why that is, but I was starting to question my personal vendetta, I guess you could say, my mission. A lot of what I teach is very esoteric. It's a lot about manifestation, it's a lot about embodiment work, following your intuition, it's a lot about connecting with the divine, all of these things that you really can't see, but you can only just like collect evidence of and have faith in. It's very challenging for a lot of us to really embrace these concepts as a lifestyle and as a way of being. And so sometimes I would question my own validity, I'd question my own power, like, is this something that's actually going to be effective in my life? Is this something that is actually going to be effective in the world at large? Am I misleading mass groups of people? Am I misleading people to really recognize what is actually true? Do I even know what is true? Well, through this encounter that I had with this person, the level of darkness that I had perception over and connection to shot me back into awareness of the light, of the power that we do hold when we do understand the power of energy and the supernatural, because this particular person was very, very powerful. Not only is he materially wealthy, but energetically, he had learned how to hook people in a very intentional way that for the mass majority of people, they would have zero level of perception over, because they're living at such a low vibration of fear and powerlessness. And so when I experienced my own ability to disentangle myself from him, I can't go into the details about this encounter, but there was an offer that was very enticing for me, and I was able to decline and separate myself from this person and separate myself from it, because I saw that the energy I was consenting to in this dynamic was my own fear over not being supported, over needing to give up something to receive something else, of needing to give up my freedom and give up my sovereignty and give up my power. And Sarah, just accept this is the way it is. This is how life works. This is how the world works. And you just need to embrace that and do your best to just walk in the light and walk in faith. But you need to accept that there's certain sacrifices that you need to make in order to survive. This was something that I was grappling with as I've been on a personal journey of learning to disentangle myself from really low vibrational ways of exchange, of money, of being resourced, right? I was working as a nurse for 5 years, and I went through several cycles over the past few years of quitting my job, starting a business, going back into my work, doing something slightly different. And over the past recent years, I've really come to plug myself into the source of provision, which is God, to take care of me, to take care of my life path. And that has effectively helped me to separate myself from all of these structures that so many people are so heavily integrated into at this point, because of the level of fear that they're living in, the fear that they're not going to have enough, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of being separate, the fear of being alone. These are all lies that have been passed down to us generationally that have kept us disempowered and have continued to feed this entity. If I had not healed and brought myself out of that energy over the past couple of years, I would have succumbed to this darker force, which would actually pull me off of my path. This is the first time in my current day life. By the way, the light is flickering right now, and that has never happened before. I know it's been flickering a little bit over this video, but I have a sense that what's going on right now must be really powerful. Maybe there's something in this room right now, who knows? But I apologize for that light. We'll just say hi to this whatever's here. Thank you for being here. I was calling upon a lot of angels last night to really clear my energetic space and to really empower my work, because I think what I experienced was a extremely powerful spiritual attack on my mission, because over the past few months I have stepped into my purpose more than I ever have in my entire life. I've made decisions that I have never had the courage to do. I'm walking by faith and not by sight right now, and that is extremely rare, and it's a very radical thing. And I have been connecting to a lot of different figures in the Bible recently. I feel like I've been walking the path of Jesus right now. Jesus went into the desert for 40 days and he was tested by the devil and was given 3 different tests. And one of those tests was actually to rule the kingdom of the world, but he had to worship Satan. And I was sort of given that level of opportunity from this person that I've been suggesting. And so this has just been a very monumental time where I've just come to such a level of awareness of the importance of my work. And it was a very fated and destined thing, because I did not have this level of awareness over the actual physical systems that are in place. I knew that our world is being ruled by fear. I've always kind of felt like I don't really belong in this world. I've really struggled to fit in. I have tried over the years, like I said, to just accept things the way they are, but it creates such a level of dissonance in my spirit. and it creates health problems, even physically, and it lowers my vibration to such an extent that I get ill, like physically ill. So I knew, like, I am this, you know, high vibrational being. I'm a being of love here on this earth from an angelic source. And I have realized that about myself over the years, but it's been increasingly difficult to live as a human being in a physical body as this angelic heart of the world. I literally exist as the heart of the world. And to come into awareness over these physical structures, it's not just energetic, it's actual, like, they have entangled themselves into the material realm and into humanity. To understand the extent of that really motivated me to come back on here and to share this awareness and to really reignite this belief in the work that I'm doing. I have circulated on these topics and this concept and my own life purpose for many years. I have cultivated it. I have honed in on it. I have focused on it for so many years. And I cannot unsee what I have seen, and I cannot forget the importance of what it is that I teach now after this particular encounter that I had. Everything that I've been experiencing up until now has just been preparation. It's just been this gradual preparation of being who I am and helping people in the ways that I have. But we are of the time now where this needs to start being embodied. We need to not only learn all of these, we're moving away from this era of information, okay? And we are moving away from needing to have more certifications, and for a lot of you that have been in the spiritual space, learning about manifestation and you know, all of these things are really important in the primary phase of our discovery is focus on self, and that's okay. And that's important because, you know, as kids, we were completely separated from who we even were. So we come to this remembrance, we come to this reconnection of, wow, I am like a spirit in a physical body. And like more and more people are awakening to the truth of who they are. And this is amazing. What I do not see is people's embodiment yet. Right now, people are still wearing spirituality as a sort of identity and a mask for who they really are. They have not yet integrated the fact that these tools, these spiritual tools, were gifted to us more recently over the past few years. I mean, they've existed for thousands of years, okay? And a lot of them have actually been secret, kept in secret circles and secret schools and stuff, like in Tibet. But as of recent, the gates were opened, and this is such a gift. This is such a gift to humanity, because these spiritual tools are what are going to carry us out of this era. This is what I was referencing a few minutes ago on the importance of what I'm doing. I used to doubt. I had some level of doubt about what I teach. You know, I think a lot of times we want this validation. We want this like external gratification. Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, we want the evidence, right? And everything in life. You know, I need proof that what I'm doing is valid. And I think it's okay to feel this way, you know, especially as people who are givers, people who like to take responsibility for other people and our own actions. I think it's important to have that reflection and self-awareness that we're not doing more harm. But I think that we really cannot underestimate the power of these tools, given the fact that they are literally what's going to break us out of the matrix and break us out of slavery. Because what's happening is this enslavement of consciousness. So if you remember what I was saying earlier, the only way that this entity, the only way that these systems, these corporations can survive is with our consent. They can only survive when we give into fear, okay? And the only thing that can help break us out of that fear construct and disentangle it from our consciousness is the practiced awareness of our personal power as beings of love and our divine power and our power to affect our thoughts and to choose our actions and to shift our identity. We have the power to choose who we want to be, how we want to feel. And what we do about the circumstances that we're in. It's coming back to this personal choice. It's coming back to this, when the world around me is like falling apart and I feel like I have no power over anything in life, and especially in the world. I don't have control over my kids. I don't have control over the economy. I struggle with my career, whatever it is. What do we have to come back to? What is the pillar? And the pillar of our personal power is our ability to choose. And I've talked about this a lot in some of my articles that I've written on my Substack. It's a repeating theme that I talk about a lot in my content, because our ability to choose as sovereign beings is what helps us to separate ourselves from fear, from the enslavement. Fear is slavery. I've been asking myself, like, what is true freedom? If I don't have all the wealth that I want, if I don't have like all the freedom to be able to go where I want to go, like what actually is freedom in this present moment for me? And it all comes down to freedom in our consciousness, of fear controlling our actions and controlling our thoughts. That is actually the core. I know a lot of us like want to look at the material again for like that external validation of who we are. Everything comes back to this eternal remembrance of who we are as a soul, as an eternal, powerful being and within us. We start to remember that freedom is something that we already exist as, and it's something that we choose on a daily basis as things are presented in our awareness. So a lot of people are going to look at what's happening in our modern world from a material perspective, and from there are going to succumb to what's happening, because they don't understand that the consciousness is what is being altered. It's the manipulation, it's the programming, it's the media that's being shot onto people, it's the poison that's being put into people's food and into their water that keeps people from being able to see the truth of things. It's not, they don't actually have power over anything. It's kind of a paradox. They kind of do, but it's not lasting power is my point. It's not sustainable power. It's not the all powerful. It's something that has to run its course, because light is always going to overcome it. The light of our consciousness, the light of our being, and the power of our divine will is always going to be able to overcome this entity. So we really need to see through what is happening in our material world. So the spiritual concepts that I teach around manifestation, embodiment, connecting to your intuition, I have come to a recent realization that they are going to be the key to unlocking humanity. This cannot be understated. I am speaking with a lot of conviction right now because people don't see it yet. I'm a visionary. I think I was born 10 years earlier, if that makes sense. Like, I am ahead of the times, okay? I have the ability to see things and to understand things that a lot of people don't have the awareness over. And so I see the picture. I have the eyes to see what is actually going on. And we need to take these concepts of spirituality, of really remembering that matter comes from spirit, and take back our power as spiritual beings through using our consciousness, through learning how to direct our thoughts, direct our feelings, direct our intention and our actions towards our desires, and not be so hooked in to the consciousness of fear that it controls everything that we do and everything that we think. This is going to affect us on a personal level, on a collective level. This is going to be what is going to break humanity out of slavery. Yes, it's going to be the rising up of communities and the people. Everyone's going to need to be on board. It's going to be the rising up of the people and the choices that the people make that's going to, break these systems of control. Yes, that's true. But the root of that is going to be people's belief systems. It's going to be their beliefs in their personal power. It's going to be their connection to a higher power, to God. It is to reconnect to the source of all that is, and to have faith in something that they can't see. That is going to be the thing that breaks everything. And yes, we will also need to, not only with our consciousness, but we will need to learn how to harness our creativity as well. This is something that I talk about also in my content, the power of creativity, the power of self-expression. There is a reason why there is censorship going on right now in a lot of media streams. There's new AI tools that are coming out that are going to be monitoring a lot of people's content. There's shadow banning, there's doxing, there's a lot of different things on social media and different monitoring systems through ChatGPT. Even they're taking sections of people's words, they're just monitoring it to make sure that there's certain things that aren't being shared to the public. They're controlling our freedom of speech. If they have to go to those extents to control what we're saying, can you imagine how powerful we are? We here's the thing, is like, as human beings, we like really focus on appearances too much and like clout and like public perception. And so we think to ourselves like, oh, I can't be anything because I'm by myself and like I don't have 1 million followers or I don't have 1 million viewers. You don't understand how much of an effect that you actually have as a singular entity. Even without like 1 million followers, one person is going to watch your stuff or hear your stuff. And from there, it's going to be this like massive butterfly effect. I know it's been talked about a lot on Instagram, which I love. I love that trend because it's so powerful. But if these systems are trying so hard to control us, can you imagine how powerful you must be? That your literal speech, they say that words are spells, and in different religions there's like different mantras and stuff that people speak to themselves. There's affirmations. Your voice is a tool for creation. There's different things within your system that are creating, your written word, your artistic abilities. You could be painting, there's visual media, and people create babies too. Like, we all have different ways of like sharing and expressing ourselves, but our voice is going to be a huge thing that helps us to spread this awareness and to shift human consciousness. Like I was saying before, this is more than just a career, okay? Like anything that you guys are going to be doing in terms of your mission, your soul purpose work, it's not just about you. It's going to be more than just about what am I going to be doing for the rest of my life with my career. This is a mass movement in consciousness, and every piece of content that is put out there is going to shift humanity. Right now, social media is like one of like over, I can't remember, 1 billion people or something like that are using social media. And there are organizations and systems right now that are using social media to brainwash people and to continuously put violent images in front of them and create division. And there's a lot of like nudity, and like OnlyFans is like huge right now, and all of this is going to be a huge distraction because people are so focused on the comfort and the pleasures over the longer picture. People are being numbed. They're being numbed out of their ability to do something. We have become perfect slaves, perfectly trained slaves for what is going to be happening very, very soon in the upcoming decade. So the more people out there, even if you're a small creator, I'm like not even kidding right now, like you are making a difference more than you realize. A lot of people are actually ahead of the curve, and they, you hear about a lot of famous people that actually started really small and they didn't have any traction for a long time. But over the years, people started to understand, like the awareness was starting to hit people of the importance of certain things, and you just needed to go first, So I think we need to look beyond the visibility aspect, look beyond the clout, look beyond yourself and what you feel like your ego needs to do the thing that you are called to do. This isn't just about you. This is going to change the world. Every drop of consciousness, every drop of positivity, every drop of insight, of wisdom, whatever your gift is that you're here to share is more impactful than you understand. And you don't need the external validation to see that. Everything is energy. The energy that you are transmitting into the world can't even be measured, but it can be felt. And it will reflect back to you in different ways in your world. God sees you. God will reward you for your efforts and for the work that you're doing to align with your mission, because it is what you're here to do. It is the will of God for us to be sovereign. It is the will of God for us to be in our purpose and to be sharing our gifts. And the universe is automatically supportive of our desires and our beliefs and our choices that we make. That is just how the universe works. It's a neutral reality. That's how both evil and good can exist at the same time, is because the universe supports human beings. That is just how it works. So you will be supported. You don't need the validation. You don't need to have everything perfect. You know how many times I have tried to set up this freaking ring light here, and like the lights keep flickering on my ring light, and like I don't have the perfect sound system, and nothing that I do, the lighting isn't perfect. There's like so many things that aren't perfect about what I'm doing, but I keep showing up, and I will continue to keep showing up, because I'm continuing to be shown how much we are needed. We need to stand up, and we need to share and remember who we are. So yes, love is going to be the thing that changes the world. Going back to my earlier statement, how could love be the most powerful thing in the world? Why is everything about love, peace, and love? It is the literal thing that is going to change our life and change our world. The more that we learn to love our communities over ourselves, to not be in such fear over our own lives, and to remember that we are loved, that we are intimately connected with a supreme God who created us, who loves us deeply, who supports us, who speaks to us in every single moment. There is never a moment that we are separate from God. Even if it feels quiet, even if it feels like you're just abandoned by God, this is never the case. There's always something that is being communicated with you and spoken to you through God. So as we remember this, love, God is love, God is the divine, God is the creator. As we connect with this eternal love, this is where power lies. I made a point about this on one of my recent posts after this awareness that I had about this man who was so consumed with his power, but his power was sourced from fear and hatred and abuse. I'm sure this man was tortured in his life. I had a feeling that he'd never experienced true love in his whole life. And that's just heartbreaking to me. You know, we've come to separate power and love somewhere along the way. Power was believed to be power over. It was control. It was domination. This is how the patriarchy became so ingrained in our society. Have you ever seen a Freemason that was a woman? That's another thing. Like, these most powerful beings are not women, because women are intimately connected with love. We are living as the expression of love and beauty and creation, and we are in direct opposition of that very force of power that comes from fear, that's mainly in control right now. But going back to what I was saying, love is the true power. Why? Because love is what created this world. Love is the only thing that can never be destroyed. If you've watched the movie Interstellar, actually, love is what saved humanity, and a lot of people may not see that message through the movie. They might just see like, oh, it was like, I don't know, for those of you who haven't seen it, like, I'll just give a little bit of a teaser, okay? And like, you can skip over this part if you don't want some exposure, but it's really relevant for this topic, okay? So Matthew McConaughey goes into this black hole, he goes into this portal and speaks to his daughter through time and space, all like manipulating physical reality through the black hole, through timelessness. And it was actually her love for him and his love for her that activated the portal within the black hole to be able to transmit communications that helped to transmit coordinates for them to be able to take humanity out of this apocalyptic situation and move them on to this other kind kind of like spaceship, starship thing. I don't want to talk about it too much, okay? Because I just want to get to the point. I just want to get to the point of this story, okay? People can feel love across space and time. If you have ever had dreams of a loved one, or sometimes I will have dreams of my cats. I had cats growing up that I was very closely connected to. And even the other day, I saw my cat sitting on my couch here. They live on the other side, but I still feel through the love that I have with them that they still support me actually from the other side, which is crazy because both of my cats passed away several years ago, like more than 6 years ago, something like that, maybe a little bit less, but sometimes also if you're like in a loving romantic partnership with someone, you can hear them telepathically. You can feel something that they feel about you, or you can sense when they're about to message you, things like that. Like that is an example of how love just overcomes everything. Love can never be separated from who we are, you know, and it's the thing that all of us desire and all of us crave and all of us go back to over and over again through the extent of our lives, and it's the thing that our world is always going back to as well. So this is how love is the true power source, because it's connected to the eternal. What we see here on earth, what is mostly in power right now with fear, okay, fear and the powers that are controlling that are earthly. They are material. Material is not real. It's a hologram. What we see here does not go with us when we die, okay? It's a temporary facade to help us to remember our power as infinite beings, as a soul, as a being of infinite light that can never be destroyed, okay? So fear and the powers that be on this earth do not have dominion over this earth. Okay, they have temporary dominion is what the Bible says. But God, the infinite, will always win, because God is the supreme. God and our connection to love and to God as the source is what will unify people to be able to rise above these entities. It's our love for our neighbor, our love for our family, our love for ourselves and our personal life that is going to give us the courage and the determination and even the resources, actual resources, to go through with our mission and to overcome this other power. Love itself is actually a way that we can tap into physical material resources, because it synchronizes different opportunities. And when you synchronize yourself to this frequency, it moves things in your material reality to help you to align with this greater source. So it takes care of you just as you're stewarding that energy. It will support you as well. So interestingly too, my own personal journey with showing up here and dancing with divinity and everything that I've created and everything that I have focused on to this point has stemmed from love as well. A love for the earth, but also love for my parents. You'll hear this a lot if you look on my Instagram page. There's a post that I made about how the birth of this movement actually came from when I witnessed my parents fighting on a balcony, and I was just like, in my heart of hearts, just so heartbroken. And I didn't understand how my parents didn't see that the way that we come back together and the way to create more harmony in our lives, like my parents just had a very challenging time when I was growing up, and there's a lot of violence and trauma going on, you know? It's like the way that we saw that is through love. I had this inner knowing, like since I was a child, that's what I was here to bring forth. And it's been my love for other people. It's been my desire to be more of love, to be more compassionate to people who are struggling, to be compassionate to the people that are ill and to the sick and to the disabled and to the people that feel that they have been abandoned. It's really this Christ consciousness that I feel that I have been embodying through my life that is going to really fuel this movement of people that are going to have this courage to rise up and step into power. The changes that need to be made in our reality to shift our collective and to shift the fate of the world is going to be from the people. It is going to be our personal choices. Again, I cannot underestimate and understate that statement. There is no savior. We are the savior. Our life will change and our world is going to change through us embodying the Messiah, the Christ, the energy of love, courage, even sacrifice to an extent. I'll talk about that some other time. But that is going to be the salvation of humanity. A lot of people, especially in the Bible, a lot of stuff has been misinterpreted from the Bible. And we think that the Messiah and the coming of Jesus to save us from these end times, these revelation times, which are very real, which are very much so happening right now, it's going to be some entity that's going to come down as Jesus Christ and it's going to save everything. That is true but not true, because we need to connect with that energy. We are Christ. We are the body of Christ. And yes, there are going to be other outside sources and different beings that can also help us as well, like extraterrestrials and different angels and stuff like this. But this is the journey of a human. And we as spiritual beings came into physical form as humans to ascend, to rise up, and we need to embody and go through that experience, a very challenging experience, to come out the other side and see the transformation. There's no escaping it. There's no avoiding the fact that the work that needs to be done on this world to make the changes that need to be made will need to be done through us. There's no one else that can do the work. It has to be us. It gets to be us. It comes from each of us valuing our unique purpose, seeing that each one of us is a part of a grander scheme, about a part of this grand collective, that each of us has a role to play, that there's no reason for us to put on these masks. There's no reason for us to put ourselves into roles and positions that don't fit us for the sake of status and wealth and money and stability and all of these things. We can't rely on that anymore. Okay, we have for many, many years now, but it's not sustainable. We cannot live that way. We need to remember that we are a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that each of us has a purpose. Each of us comes here with a very unique role to play. We need to remember that purpose, and we need to connect with it and to embody it and to act upon it for it to be real. This is the salvation of humanity. This is what is going to help turn the tides and even shift the balance of wealth, material wealth. Right now, most of the world that has the most money are people that are the most greedy and that are the most ego-driven. And that is going to shift as the people start to rise up. The resources and the wealth are naturally going to shift to those that are the most in power, and that is going to be the people that are living in love, because that is going to be the higher frequency, that is going to be the more dominant energy that resources will flow towards, because that is what is going to help support humanity. The more people that start to tune into this frequency of love and to choose and act upon it, the more power that will be given to that frequency. And money and power are the same. Money is a symbol of power. It's just the material manifestation of many things, but one of those things is power, okay? So we'll move to different even exchanges of wealth and money. The way that we sell and the way that we trade and the way that we live as a society is going to be very different as well. So who knows how long this is going to take? It's going to take hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. I don't care. All I know is we are here in the now. And for those of you who are watching this and those of you who have been following me and been a part of this journey, you came here at this time intentionally, just so you know. You reincarnated, or for the first time, who fucking cares? All that could be theory, right? You came here as a soul in a physical body at this particular time because you knew that this was going to be happening right now. And you knew that you were going to be a part of this grand finale, okay? You knew that you were going to be a part of this huge climax to help humanity to finally remove itself from the chains, from bondage, and to move back into love. And you came here to do it in your own unique way. There's a million ways that we get to do this. My way is as a mystic. It's as a healer. I came to embody the archetype of an actual priestess. It doesn't even really exist as much on this planet anymore, which is crazy to me. There's like tons of different cultures where like spirituality and having temples and different sacred sites and like places where priestesses were actually like sponsored and funded by the kingdom and by the people, like that used to be an actual thing, but it's not really so much anymore. So like each of us has come here to embody something that is going to help make a difference in this huge arc of time that we're in. So connect with your purpose. If you can't remember what your purpose is, or you are unsure about your purpose, send me a message, or I'll send you a link to my ebook too and walk you through some of the things in there to really help you connect to it. Remember, you are here not just to like work a job and to have a human life. You're here to have a miraculous life. You're here to be a part of something that's really important. And remembering why you're here is going to be the key to that. I'm also here, I offer a one-on-one mentorship. It's 3 months long. It's called Divine by Design. And in it, we help you to remember your purpose, but also to really reconnect with your intuition. The way that we start to really create these systems and these structures that are going to actually make physical changes in our reality and in our life as a collective, for the world, for ourselves, is going to be by remembering how to connect with our higher self and the inner voice that is always speaking to us through our body, through our writing, through connecting with our creative channel. There's a lot of different ways to reconnect with our intuition that can help us to then embody and take action on our purpose to be this version of ourselves that we came here to be. Those are some things that I'm going to be walking you through in my one-on-one mentorship. It's really cool because I have an astrologer who also offers a one-on-one session at the beginning of your time with me, where you get to see your soul purpose as it's written in the stars. You know, it's just a tool. You know, you already know why you're here. You know what you're here to do. Even if you don't know in this moment, you will remember. There's nothing that you need outside of you to connect with your soul's purpose, but it's really fun to connect with astrology as a tool because it's a really cool guidepost and it just gives you something to kind of like channel your energy towards. And I also have a nervous system specialist that works with me in the one-on-one program to help offer you tools to learn how to regulate your nervous system as you're starting to take actions and do things that you may have never done before. You could be the first person in your entire lineage to actually start to be stepping out of survival and actually being in their soul directed purpose. And with that, our body definitely starts to react, and there's a lot of fear that we get to go through and different situations that can make it challenging to really commit to this path. And something that I've really learned on my personal journey is how when we actually embody the frequency of safety and we start to give our physical body, this beautiful human vessel that is ancient, you know, and give it love and give it care on a somatic level, that actually starts to translate into our energetic reality and to our physical reality, that I am safe. And when you start to learn how to connect with those tools regularly, safety and trust and receiving of the resources that you need to be in your purpose and the people and the opportunities, all those things become second nature because you are being in the energy of being held and supported. This is something that can never be taken away from you, but it's something that can be challenging to connect with because we're living in this world that encourages us to go faster and to do more. It's just so overstimulating too. So we don't understand that we can create more stability and safety in our life when we actually bring it to the physical body. So this is something that I also bring into my one-on-one programs that I really love. And I will have a link below. You can send me a DM if you want to ask me more about my program, or let me know what are some things that you're working through with your soul purpose work. And leave in the comments below as well, like tell me what were your thoughts on this whole conversation. It was very intense and very powerful. Yeah, I'm feeling very passionate about this particular topic because I can feel this grand swelling that's happening in the lives of all of us right now, and I feel very called to come forth with this awareness and this information. So I hope this has been helpful for you in some way. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram. I'm more active on there. So yeah, peace and blessings.